Warning, this is an early warning. This video is rated S for stupid. If you are allergic to or intolerant of very stupid content, please close the video now and watch something far more rational. You have been warned. With that out of the way, happy Singles Awareness Day, although some may call it Valentine's Day. Today, I thought we might have a little fun. Ever since this game, For Honor, came out, there's been kind of this joke or meme going on about Warden and Nobushi being a couple. I'm not 100% sure of the reason for it, but I always liked the pairing. Maybe it's because my own passion for Japan runs rampant, so I kind of have that attraction. Maybe it's because I dated a girl from Japan for a little while when I was in college. There could be many reasons. I can't say for sure, but I do like the two together. But that does lead me to some more questions, such as, who else would I ship given the chance? What other For Honor love stories are out there to tell? So, believe it or not, I've thought a bit about this, and I have paired, not all the characters, I haven't paired all of them, but I've paired a few. And today, in honor of this wonderful day of unrequited love, I'm going to share them with you. Why? Because it's Singles Awareness Day. I'm single, and I'm very aware of it. Now you get to suffer with me. Let's get started. So the first one is Lawbringer and Peacekeeper. Now, okay, I know some might pair Lawbringer up with Warmonger so you can have the Law Daddy and the War Mommy, but I didn't see it that way. I never saw it that way. I can respect that, but I don't see it that way. I see Lawbringer and Peacekeeper as a couple. I started seeing them as a couple way back at the start of the game. You know, one brings law and the other is keeping the peace. The two together form a union that maintains a stable society and household. You know, they won't betray each other. They're meant for each other. The law protects the peace and the peace is able to keep the law. Law and peace working together. I feel it's just an exceptional match. Plus, given their personality, I like to kind of picture Peacekeeper teasing Lawbringer a little bit. Peacekeeper strikes me as a bit of a mischievous character, like she wants to walk a line and will dare Lawbringer to cross it with her. And him being the staunch and fierce, lawful, good adherent of righteousness, he would find these teases and jokes to be so scandalous, not unlike the protagonist of some harem anime when one of the girls flashes some skin she really shouldn't. Oh, the fun these two might have. And yet, Peacekeeper knows. She knows that Lawbringer would never cross that line. He values her too much. And she likes that, which is why she teases him. She likes to remind herself that he loves her too much to be inappropriate. Meanwhile, he secretly loves the teasing, though. He claims he doesn't, but he does. He likes it. It shows she cares, and a small part of him does kind of yearn for the day he finally does give in and take her. The aesthetic just really works for these two. Okay, so that's them. The next one is Warden, male, and Nobushi. I mean, well, duh. Warden and Nobushi, they just make sense as far as I can see it. Warden is, you know, he's your default. He's the vanilla. He's the character that everyone associates with For Honor, and thus he embodies the largely male player base. And as a result, the male player longs for the female, and even when the game first started, Nobushi was probably the most feminine of the cast. In terms of personality, it's a little similar to Lawbringer and Peacekeeper, actually. See, Warden holds virtue and righteousness first. He's not lawful good, he's neutral good. To him, he wouldn't mind crossing the line with Nobushi as long as she was okay with it. But Nobushi is demure, a little reserved. She wants Warden to notice her, but is afraid of rejection. She's afraid that he will see her as unworthy of him. It's the idea that he holds himself to such a high standard. What kind of standards would he hold his spouse to? And so when they interact and come together, Warden is hesitant, only so he doesn't hurt Nobushi, whereas she is hesitant out of fear of offending Warden. Now you might think, now hold on, Raven, I've seen Nobushi in the game. She can act cocky, she can act a little bit flirtatious, so what do you have to say about that? She acts that way in battle, but around the person she likes, I don't see it quite the same way. See, when you have a high opinion of yourself around other people, sometimes you don't have that same high opinion of yourself when exposed to the person you greatly admire, and that's the way I look at that. The two would play off each other well enough that I think it fits really well. And yes, maybe it's a little personal for me. Deal with it, okay? Let's move on. Okay, so next one. Female Jormungandr and Centurion. This one is less about personality than it is about functionality. Before Yorm's rework was a thing, Yorm, I felt, had some trouble doing what she needed to get her hammer slam. With the way stamina works now, Yorms would struggle to get their opponent on the ground and exposed for a hammer slam. But with a strong Centurion by your side, you can negate some of that issue. Centurion can ground someone very quickly and easily without draining their stamina. And, well, Yorm can capitalize on that. So, I felt their motifs were very much in line with each other. Now, yes, I'm aware that there are some characters like Tiandi who can yield similar results, but the reason I use Centurion here is because I see kind of an attraction of opposites. Jormungandr is a zealot, while Centurion is a soldier. Jormungandr is a wild and hard-to-contain individual, while Centurion is orderly and balanced. But what they both have in common is both know how to dominate. The two may clash often, but behind their scoffs, their teasing jabs and occasional curses and yelling at each other, they both enjoy trying to outplay and outshine the other, and they constantly kind of admire the other for what they can bring to the table that the other just can't. So, I kind of like that. It's a little bit of a romantic, but hey, that's what this whole thing is, right? Okay, next one. This one's gonna shock you. Male Black Prior and Aethera. This has nothing to do with the lore, mostly, so calm down and follow me on this one, okay? I promise it'll make sense. The Aethera and the Black Prior mindset are polar opposites. Aethera maneuvers and uses mobility and various characteristics to strike and do damage. Meanwhile, Black Prior is a stationary force who would rather bash, counter, or power through opponents, not quite as maneuverable. Now, while the two were initially enemies in the lore, I have long been of the position that not all Black Priors might think and feel the same. As I stated in my Black Prior sermon video, which was a fun video to make, go watch that if you haven't, some may not agree with Horkos, Vortigern, or Ravier, and as a result, would some Black Priors not possibly seek to make peace or an alliance with the Aethera? And in turn, if the Aethera are compassionate enough to stay in Heathmoor to guide it, would it not make sense for them to be open to this idea, open to this new way of thinking? And plus, on a historical note, if the Black Priors are based on Norman knights and the Aethera are Mamluk warriors, the meeting of these two historical enemies and finding common ground in this fantasy world, it's just kind of a romance thing to me, akin to a star-crossed lover like Romeo and Juliet. If the Aethera could be swayed to the beliefs and virtues of the knights and betray their sultana to be with him, would that not be compelling? I know it's totally romantic garbage, but that's part of the fun of this. It's kind of the fun of just saying, yeah, I'd like to see that happen. I think it'd be kind of funny. Plus, since they kept building up how the Aethera and the Black Prior, ooh, they're just so against each other, I'm like, what if you had two who actually liked each other? Let's go Romeo and Juliet on this. Okay, let's go Pride and Prejudice on this. Let's actually see that happen. I just think that'd be funny. So, yep, that's another one for you. Next up. Griffin and Warmonger, because damn it, I think it's funny. Holden misses his polymommy, okay? Okay, alright, that one's mostly a joke, let's keep going, Valkyrie and Male Conqueror. Okay, with this one I confess that this has a bit more to do with my story For Honor and Glory, and how there's a Valkyrie who falls in love with Conqueror in that story. But I'll explain a little further. Personality-wise, both have something I find endearing. Conquerors are supposedly former bandits or criminals given a second chance to fight and prove themselves as useful. Valkyrie are warriors who provide second chances to those who cannot die honorably in battle. Both are warriors who took up arms to earn redemption. One, admittedly, does it for themselves, but the other for someone else. And I kind of had this mental image of like a conqueror who impressed a Valkyrie so much that the Valkyrie dedicated her fights to him, fighting to earn him the redemption he wanted so badly. Or take it the other direction with the conqueror falling in love with the Valkyrie, and instead of fighting for his own redemption, fighting for hers. Maybe he runs in to protect her. Maybe, the Valkyrie gets captured by the knights, and the conqueror, despite being a bandit and working for his own freedom, decides to step in the way and prevent Valkyrie from being executed, even though it risks his own execution. A little bit of selflessness involved. I think that would be really cool, the two making sacrifices for each other. Both fight for redemption, one being them for themselves and Valkyrie doing it for others. But I feel like if you could change the Valkyrie's mindset, not the Valkyrie, sorry, the Conqueror's mindset, or the Valkyrie's mindset, would that not be really, really neat? It's just something that I thought about, and I think that'd make a cute connection. Okay, next one. Female Raider and male Kensei. The funny thing is that I would see this working well if Raider is the female and Kensei is the male, but not the other way. I'm not entirely sure why that is. I guess, to me, female Raider is just as savage and wild, but I feel almost like she's trying too hard. Like, male Raider has nothing to prove to anyone, but female Raider has to show that she's capable and competent as a warrior. I see her, meeting a male Kensei who inspires her, because a Kensei inspires faith and devotion in his followers and his clan through his strength of will and his unwavering decision making. Something about that would just appeal to a female Raider, as she is in awe of that kind of resilience. I could see this, I think it'd be funny, like, picture this tough, powerful, absolutely jacked female Raider, but she melts like butter and whines like a puppy around this guy who is not only probably shorter than her and not as physically stacked, but also no more powerful than her. Like, I could just see that. Like, I think that's hilarious. I think that's a hilarious mental image to have. All right, so next one. Okay, this one will be kind of interesting. Aramusha and Pirate. Pirate and Aramusha are both unique in that they are unapologetically rebels. Neither like conforming to authority or any kind of control, and yet that's why theirs would be a sad relationship. Though they may yearn for the other, desire the other, they can never admit it to each other. One is bound for the sea, the other is set on land. One has broken away from his master and could never have another. The other, has sworn herself to the sea and to her crew and could never risk another person in her life. Not only would pride be too great to accept that they like each other, but the understanding that their union would force them to be devoted to the other and thus abandon the rebellious lifestyle. While they may not be against the idea, it would be a very bitter pill for them both to swallow. So deep down, they want each other, but can never accept that, or admit to it, or confess it. A very tragic romance there. So, to get off of that tragedy moment, let's end things with my last one, which is admittedly more of a joke. Shaman and male Zanhu. Okay, this one is, like I said, admittedly more of a joke. Zanhu is a scholar and devoted alchemist. Even his moveset and style scream control, refinement, studiousness. But Shaman? I'm not entirely sure that she's housebroken. But but that contrast just makes me laugh. I can totally picture this. Zanhu, walking down a path one day, reading a scroll or something, and he's eating an apple. He notices that there's a worm in the apple, so he tosses it aside without eating it. There's a shaman nearby who sees him discard that apple and assumes, he tossed that to me, he's giving it to me, and it had a worm in it? That makes it even tastier. I love the worms in the apple. So she eats it, convinced that this man must be kind and like her, so she follows him and acts more like an annoying cat who wants you to take it home. The Zanhu, like, he could be trying to ignore her, trying to read his book, and then all of a sudden she just crawls over and puts her head in his lap while he's reading, and he's like, damn it, what do you do? I know it's stupid. You don't need to tell me that. I'm sure someone's going to go to the comments and say, gosh, Raven, you're really stupid and you're a hopeless romantic. You're right on both counts. But all of these are stupid. All of these are silly. I just think they're funny. As I've said before, the world of For Honor is very unique. I love creating stories around these characters. I love picturing who they are outside of the multiplayer battlefields, outside of the map. What do they do when they're home? Who do they care about? What do they yearn for? What are their desires? And sometimes you gotta think, who would they want to be in a relationship with? And I think that some of these are very funny ideas that could open the way to some very creative romantic stories. Now, that's just me though. I mean, if you guys don't care for that, that's fine. I get that. But I wanted to make this video in honor of this day of love and relationships. Because I am not in a relationship right now, and it makes me very sad to think that, but that doesn't mean I don't think about it. I am a hopeless romantic at heart, and I'm kind of proud of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this very bizarre video, and I had a lot of fun making it. Happy Singles Awareness Day. Do share your For Honor ships in the comments below if you have some unique ships that you'd like to share. Also, don't forget to visit my Teespring store, guys. You'll find some awesome merch there, including the chibi of Nobushi and Warden, and on a shirt and on a few other things, and also a Jormungandr and Centurion chibi as well, that both of those have some items and merchandise available in the store. And if you use the promo code now for the next week. Guys, this is for the next week. As of making this video, if you use the promo code NOBU, that's N-O-B-U, you get 10% off on any purchase. Consider that my Valentine's gift to you guys. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Singles Awareness Day. Thank you guys for watching this video. And until my next one, I will see you in that video. Take care.